Hey people, welcome to the party.
Welcome back.
It's me, Andrea from Padawan Chronicles, and
Will from Padawan Pops. It's like a Padawan party. Maybe we should
yes,
rename this.
we should. Yeah, Padawan
Marketing.
party. Yes, I thought that was my job. But yeah,
Well,
it's so we just got done watching the new show Skeleton Crew. To be honest with you, I like totally forgot this was a thing when I got up today. It wasn't on my agenda for the day, and then I think someone mentioned it, and I was like, "Oh, that's today."
Oh, I was so ready for this. Like, especially when they bumped it today, I was really excited because Mondays kind of stink. So this was a good Monday coming off of a long weekend.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, Monday premieres are fun, something to look forward to after the Sunday blues and having to work on
Yep.
Monday. And I did like the 9 p.m. premiere as opposed to midnight.
Yeah, I don't do midnight premieres or 3 a.m. or
I
whatever they do them at.
I attempt it, but then by the time it's like 11:30, I'm like, it is too late. I am tired. So
Oh
let's
yeah,
see who jumped into the live chat, and then we'll get started on talking about episode one, the Purple
Purple Jedi.
Jedi.
Hello there.
Love, yeah, hello. Love your profile picture. Abby, I jumped into her live stream earlier. She says she was looking forward to it. Abby, I'm excited to hear what you thought. Joshua is in the live chat. He says hello. James is here. He says sup and good episodes. Yeah, so let's start talking about it. What did
You're
you
gonna get
think?
us copyrighted down there.
Oh, down here. Yeah, no, no, no. I'll pause it. I'll be skipping around. Yeah, I don't want the live stream taken down like with my Clone Wars watch party. No, we'll skip around. But okay, so opening scene. We've got some pirates and there's
Yeah.
like a mutiny. What did you think?
So I loved the way it started. I wasn't expecting like you know how Ahsoka had the opening crawl, like with the red or whatever riding, not like an opening crawl, but kind of letting you know what was going on.
Why
It's
don't I
setting the scene.
remember Ahsoka's intro? What? Oh, wait, was it when her finding the temple and like the treasure map?
Well, so that was after Balin and Shin showed up to the New
Oh,
Republic
it
ship, and right
started with
before
Balin
that, they
and
had like the red writing, on the stars.
yes.
This did the same thing, and so I
Yeah.
thought that was cool. I really liked that how they're starting these shows.
Yeah, they both kind of harken back, I think, to Rogue
Yeah.
One. And
Hmm.
I guess I mean, A New Hope too, right? Like the ship takeover.
Yeah.
Did you understand what was happening when it started?
In this episode, yeah, I kind of thought it gave away a lot, right? Like at the beginning with the pirate crew showing up and then their captain. I mean, can we say who we think he is now, or do we wait?
So Joshua kind of had a theory. He thought the captain is the Jedi at the very end of episode
Yeah,
two.
it's Jod, right? That's who it's got to be. The
Is
Jude Law
Jod the
character.
Jedi?
Yeah,
That's what Joshua said. I was like, oh, maybe. Yeah, I'd already kind of
yeah.
forgotten about the intro scene at that point. I was like, oh, yeah. Yeah, I thought it was
I
cool.
I
I
wasn't
did,
expecting it to start that way. I don't know about you, but I wasn't expecting action at the beginning.
yeah, I think I expected it to start in the neighborhood
Yeah.
that we saw in the trailer, which is exactly what happens immediately after. I did put
Yep.
in my notes, I feel like the intro with the pirates, it felt very Marvel-ish. Can't put my
Yeah.
finger on why.
Well, it was for sure like it wasn't lightsabers and blasters and whatever, right? Like your typical Star Wars stuff. It was a little swashbuckly. So I mean,
Yeah.
it almost of a different genre of Star Wars, but I did like it, and it was
Yes.
ships. So the way they like boarded the ship, I thought was really cool too. I don't know if you can like skip around in that, but
Let me
where they like
see.
shoot those tunnels on there and then hop on, I thought
Yeah.
that was awesome.
Yeah. What did you think? What did you think of the wolf creature? I remember seeing the mannequin of it at pictures
I
from D23.
I
So
don't
so.
hate it. I don't hate it. What do you think?
I don't know. It feels very Universal Monsters.
I was thinking like Thriller, like the music
Yeah,
video.
exactly. Very like, yeah,
Yeah,
old school like horror film. Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, Space Pirates continues. I wrote that in my notes. That's been kind of a theme in The Mandalorian. And I guess Rebels too. There's some pirates in Rebels.
yeah. It it felt different than I thought Mando, Rebels even. Like I thought it's very much its own thing, which I do like. I like a show that comes out like it still gives you those tones, like you said, from Rogue One or A New Hope, starting off Ahsoka, but still like it felt like its own show, and so I thought it did a good job starting off that way.
Yeah, agreed. Well, that was the intro. Let's move on to the neighborhood. That's when we meet
Yeah.
Wim and Neil. What did you think of them two?
Neil, I mean, I know everyone loves Neil, but I'm in the crew. I mean, I already want like his Funko Pop. I want all the Neil. They can't do anything bad to that character. I love him.
Oh,
Wim, Wim, I don't dislike him either, but I think Neil kind of stole the show.
he really did. I thought they were both good, but in different ways. I thought Neil was so cute. And the way he like uses the little elephant trunk is so
Yeah,
like I think he shushes Wim at some point in class and he's like his little trunk was like shh.
yeah,
It's so funny.
yeah,
I was really impressed with Wim though. I thought the little boy that plays him did an amazing job.
yeah. When they show up, I think it's about to show here. Yeah, when they do like the little lightsaber duel, I love
Yeah,
that. Like that was
so
my favorite
cute.
scene of the two episodes. Was like
Yeah.
them just going full Star Wars, and I mean this is what we did as a kid growing up, right? Like
Right.
you would go out and play with, which we had the retractable lightsabers, but like you just go
Yeah.
have a Jedi battle, Sith battle, and the fact that they know the Jedi and Sith, how fun is that?
Yeah, I love too Wim's little like iPad thing that flips like the little stories. I thought that was cute. Like a little
Yeah,
Kindle. But this part was I thought it was so cute when Neil is like, "You shouldn't have come here." And then they
yeah,
both do the lightsaber sounds. It was so
yeah.
funny. Some guy Kevin's in the live chat. That's really his
Kevin.
name. Oh, is that Kevin that you do your
Yeah,
podcast with? Oh, hey Kevin. We'll have to have you on next week. We want to have like a
yeah,
rotating like panel. I was pleasantly surprised that all of the kids are pretty likable so far. Kevin's
yeah.
like, I didn't know kids could be likable. I thought they
Kevin
were all.
has kids. He knows how they can be.
I mean, I get what you're saying though, because you're like, when there's a show about kids, it's like, is it going to feel very kiddish or is it going to be interesting?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a
And
good
I think
balance.
I think so. And there's a good like humor too. I really like when they get on the ship, the way Neil is like thinks everything's like gross. Don't and when
The
Wim's on the
dirt's
ground,
really
the
dirty.
dirt is really dirty.
Yeah.
There's always one kid that's like that. It's so
That's
funny.
like so quotable too. I mean, like I'll probably use that quite a
Yeah,
bit
the
going
dirt
forward.
is
It's like
really
that
yeah,
dirt is so
with
dirty.
exactly. Like don't crawl on that floor with your daughter. Like the dirt is really dirty there.
Too dirty.
Yeah. So I have that in my notes. The kids are so cute.
Yeah.
And I thought it was cool how they have like a DJ Rex as the bus driver.
Hmm. They're
It's
sticking like
so-
chewing gum on the back of his head, right? Isn't that what they're doing?
Yeah. Yeah. I at this point in the show I was like wondering if there might be too much CGI with the bus. What did you
Yeah.
think?
So you could for sure tell, and I was thinking when we were watching it, I was thinking back to the Acolyte, right? Like because they did a lot of like practical filming, like on set things like that, and you could tell when like they zoom out on the neighborhood and the bus is going through, like you could
Mm-hmm.
tell that it was not on set location type of thing, but I didn't think anything of it. I mean, I grew up on the prequels, so
Right, exactly. So by comparison, these are amazing. No, but I did, I don't know, when I was watching The Acolyte, I at no point was I like, this feels very CGI.
yeah,
But in
yeah.
this episode, there were times where I felt like, oh, there's a lot of CGI. But I think that'll improve as we actually get out into space and what we're used to more.
Especially depending on where the story goes. Like if it's a lot of space and spaceships, or like they're going to go to a desert planet at some point. Like I feel like those will tend to look less CGI-ish versus
Yeah.
like a sprawling landscape. I mean they're
Yeah.
using the volume, I would assume, and so
For the neighborhood, I'm not
or
sure.
at least for just for the show in general, like they'll be using it quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I assume it'll look along the lines of Kenobi, Mando, Ahsoka, all of those.
Yeah. Joshua says a lot of the structures seem to be CGI too.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
I noticed that with the houses in the neighborhood. I think maybe because they weren't going to spend that much time there in the show anyway, they
Yeah.
probably didn't want to spend too much time building out all the structures,
Hmm.
like for realsies. So it makes
Yeah.
sense. I'm just glad. I'm glad how quickly they got out into space. Did you expect the first episode to end like that?
I expected them to get lost within the first two, but I didn't know if it was going to be episode one, just primarily world building and then getting there. But I mean, it's about a horse apiece, right? Like they ended up there by the second episode.
Yeah, it made sense to me when we were watching the first one and they were like in the exam and then detention. I was
Yeah.
like, I really hope this episode ends with them already out in
Yeah.
space. And it did. So it was perfect. It really worked out. I think it exceeded my expectations. I had very low expectations going into the show just from watching the trailer. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, it looks cool as like a dystopian sci-fi show. I don't know if I like it as a Star Wars show." But now that we've seen the pirate from The Mandalorian, now that we've met the pirate droid, who was amazing. He was so funny. What was his name? Oh, SM-30.
SM-33. Yeah, I wrote that one down.
Yeah. At one point, are they going to give him a nickname? They're not going to call him 33.
Yeah, the Wim called him 33, but I don't think that's like Star Wars ish, right?
That's
Like
not a great
you call him SM, you don't call him 33.
It's not a great nickname. I think they're probably
Yeah.
going to start calling him Sam or something, right?
Yeah,
That would make
they'll have to
sense.
go. Well, I don't know. They threw 33 out there really early, so maybe that's what they want us to call him.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. Not a fan of that particular nickname, but the Ren says, "Our mateys pirates be with you."
Arr.
Yeah,
Shmee.
Shmi. Oh, oh my
Oh, okay.
gosh, you're so right.
Kevin's right.
SM-33. That's so smart.
Smee.
Yeah,
That's the way it's gonna go.
like Captain Hook's henchman.
Yep.
That's so
Very
smart.
smart.
Yeah,
Very
I didn't
smart.
even think of that.
Now, I
But
will say on this first episode, when like I thought all of like the mischief and everything, because everyone keeps comparing this, like, oh, it's gonna be the Goonies, it's gonna be Stranger Things, like that's what everyone kept
E.T.
throwing out there,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the mischief in the first episode did live up to that, but also kept it Star Warsy, if that makes sense. So like you hit all the nostalgic vibes, you get like the kids that just want to go have fun, or whatever it may be, and then you get the adventure starting at the end. So I think it did everything it needed to do as far as the
I think so
feels and the
too.
story goes.
It didn't feel too slow at any point. When they started getting to like, oh, you have to study and we have an exam, I was like, oh no. But that's over
Right.
real quick and I was right back into it. Jedi
Yeah.
Lex said, loved episode one. Gonna watch two tomorrow because I gotta work early. Oh,
Mm.
I totally get that. But luckily, Lex, I feel like episode one ends in a really good spot and you're
Yep.
probably excited to keep watching tomorrow. That's where you
And
want to
two's
be.
a quick one too.
Yeah, two feels a lot shorter for sure. Joshua says, I kind of wish the pirate theme was a little more space high tech ish and a little less 18th century, but the pacing of the show is pretty good so far.
Yeah. It's very traditional pirates, right? Like it's not necessarily Star Wars pirates.
I guess what distinguishes the pirates from the scoundrels like Han Solo?
Um, I feel like scoundrels. I don't know. This is my opinion, but I feel like the scoundrels are almost like a level above as far as citizenry, right? Like how you interact in
Not as
society versus
outlawish.
yeah.
Got it. Okay,
That's
some
my
moral
thought.
standards, yeah, for sure. Oh, my friend Leo's in the chat. He says, "Yo, hello, Leo.
Yo,
Are you watching Skeleton Crew? Let us know." But yeah, anything else about episode one that you thought was notable?
um, I think Fern and what's her KB. I think they're fun characters too. I think they're gonna have like a good dynamic on the whole character spectrum of the four kids running around. I think they are really good as well.
Yeah, yeah. KB hasn't said much. She's a very quiet character, but I guess Fern speaks enough for both of them.
Yeah,
I
she hasn't
guess.
had much room to.
Yeah, and she doesn't get to be very expressive because her eyes are always covered.
Yes.
When it comes to merchandise, have you actually bought anything for this show yet?
No, I probably won't until it gets a little bit on clearance. I've quit buying Funkos at full price at this point, just the way things go with them. But I will be purchasing Neil, that's for sure.
Oh my gosh, Neil. Yeah, little baby Max Rebo for sure. I've also held off buying the Funko Pops because I was like, I don't even know if I'm gonna like the show.
Yeah.
I feel like with Funko Pops, you're either like way too early, like, why would I buy this? I haven't even seen the show. Or they're like
Yeah.
super late where you're like, why even release this at this point? So,
Yeah. I'm glad they're out early though. Just, I'll have options once we get to the end of this season.
yeah. And it was a good teaser for the show, like a way to get excited about the characters' design and everything.
Yeah.
Did you want to read this one?
Yeah, have you seen the pirate from Young Jedi Academy? Reminds me of that one that was scared of snakes. So this is from the Ren. Young Jedi Academy, is that the kids show? Or is that Young Jedi
Yeah,
Adventure?
that's the kid show with the little blue teddy
Yeah.
bear Jedi.
Yeah, I'm not familiar so much with that show. So I have not seen that.
Yeah. Wait, why haven't you seen it?
My kid doesn't watch TV yet.
No? Okay, maybe in a year or two.
She's not allowed to watch TV yet.
That's fair. That's fair. Give it another year. Lex says, was that Jude Law's character?
It
Under the
was
helmet?
Lex. It was.
The Jedi.
Yeah, it's Jod. Yeah.
That's what we're thinking.
He's got to be the captain that got mutinied.
Yeah, because Joshua pointed out, I think the crew that threw the kids into the brig is the same crew from
Same
the
crew.
beginning. Yeah.
Yep. It
So
is not much
that
of a
makes
time
sense.
jump.
That was such a funny force pull with the, what was it, like the keys or
The
something?
keys,
It was
yeah.
just, he's like, can you keep a secret?
Keep
And
a
it was
secret.
it was a great ending to episode 2. It makes you excited for episode 3. Are you like excited for the rest of the show?
Yeah, I don't know where we're going. Like, I mean, they're trying to get back home. That's all we know. So I'm real excited to see.
And everything about what's their episode called? At Aden?
At Aden. So yeah, I wrote a lot about that in episode 2's
Oh, what'd you write?
notes. So like, well, first of all, I don't want to say the show was losing me, but like you came in with very low expectations and I came in with very high. And so the first episode, a little bit slow to start off, right? Like doing the world building, which is fine. I have a terrible attention span sitting through 2 episodes, just not a thing that I do. So episode 2, I wasn't necessarily into the whole pirate port. Like that wasn't super engaging for me. And then they all like start talking about the mythical planet. And then I'm like, oh, I'm interested now. Like they don't know this planet exists. So there's a little bit of like conspiracy here with Star Wars. And so
Yeah.
it's like Atlantis, essentially. I think it's very
Yeah.
cool that that's the direction that they took with that because they kept saying, what was it called? The barrier. Like you can't go past the barrier. And I had no clue what they were talking about in the first episode. Then they kind of explain it, pay it off. So I do like the mystery there.
Yeah, there's a few mysteries still, like why that ship was even on at Aden, who
Right.
that crew was. Like we see a bunch of skeletons on the ship.
Yep.
2 skeletons died in a duel. We
Yep.
don't know what that's about. So that'll be interesting. I wonder if we'll get flashbacks to the original crew.
Oh, I hope we don't go the flashback route. I don't know about you, but I'm like
I
so
don't know. I
burned
kind of
by
want to
the
know
Acolyte
whose ship it was.
flashbacks.
Tell me about the duel. I want to know about the duel.
The droid can explain. Smee, he
Oh,
can.
Smee. Yeah, I love how we
just
just already know his
say it.
name is Smee. Thank you. Shout out
Yeah.
to Kevin for sleuthing that one out.
That's what
Jedi
Kevin gets
Lex.
the bid bucks for.
Yeah, Jedi Lex said, okay, but the baby Niels, my heart melted. I know. We were saying that.
Agreed.
So cute. And I love the
Agreed.
voice acting that they did for him too. It was adorable.
Yeah, so that kid, I don't know his name. I'll figure it out at some point. But he did so good, like on the press tour, talking about like why he loves Star Wars and everything. Like everyone's
Oh.
just loving the actor, they're loving the character. I think he's going to be a fan favorite.
The voice actor for Niels, I don't even know what
Yeah.
he looks like. Hang on. Now I have to see this kid's face. I haven't seen any of the. I don't usually watch press stuff because I don't like to get it spoiled for me. Aw, adorable. I can see the resemblance. It looks like Neil.
But he loves like he has this one clip talking about like his the best Star Wars scene is when R2 shoots Luke's lightsaber out in Return of the Jedi and it's green. I
Hmm.
mean, like it's like deep answers. So I think he's endeared himself to fans.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Aw, and he's so young too. So he'll only get more knowledgeable from here. I'm sure he already knows more about lore than I do.
Yes,
I'm sure he's
same
done
here.
his homework. Joshua says, I think the planet has technology that prevented it from being discovered or noticed during the war with the Empire.
Yep, yep.
Hmm.
And they
Yeah.
have that old Republic credits. They're like really old, way under the
Yeah.
radar.
That part was interesting of the pirates being like, how did you get this? So there's so much mystery surrounding the planet.
Yep.
So I'll be interested to learn more about that. Eric says, hey yo,
Eric.
how's it going, good peoples? Hey Eric. Did you watch the first two episodes? Let us know what you thought. Oh, he already wrote. Both episodes got me hooked. Fully enjoyed it so far.
Was the pun intended on hooked? I hope so.
Eric, we figured out the droid's name. It's gonna be Shmi. That's so funny.
We
I
definitely
love that.
figured that out.
Yes, exactly. Me specifically. No, but it's so cool because I'm always like they're gonna run out of cool names. Like K2 is cool and BD is cool. I'm always thinking they're gonna run out of ideas and they can always come up with one more, and that's a
They can
good
just
one.
throw two letters together. It'll work.
Yeah, someone deserves a raise over there for figuring that out. That was
Yeah.
awesome. Professor Palm says, "What did you think of the series so far?" I think we're both liking it. It sounds like I wasn't really liking the school testing detention part, whereas Will probably you seemed like you enjoyed that part more.
Yeah. I mean, I'm enjoying it so far for sure.
To me, it just
As the
felt
whole.
kind of overdone. Like the kids are in detention. The one girl's like, "What are you in for?" And he's
Yeah.
like blah blah blah. What are you in for? Like I was just like, not this again. Like how many TV shows and movies have we not
I was gonna
seen?
say it's kind of a classic thing. Like we've seen that before, but
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
what they were shooting for. I think.
Yeah, something familiar to take us into the unfamiliar. And then you didn't seem to like the starport part as much.
Yeah, it's not that I didn't like it. It just wasn't like wasn't hooking me. I mean, you think back to like the
Hard.
first episodes of things. Right, you got
Hmm.
like Mandalorian episode 1. I was in. I think everybody was in. Ahsoka, the first episode. So it wasn't quite like that, but I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I wouldn't say it's my favorite Star Wars show ever yet, but it was surprisingly fun, I
Yeah,
thought. Yep, Shmi. Yeah, exactly. Oh, Breakfast Club. Aren't they older though in the Breakfast Club? They're like
that's
teens.
detention. Yeah, but they're like high schoolers.
Yeah. Yeah. No, wait, Ferris Bueller. Yeah, exactly. Like that high
Yeah,
school. But I think you're right. Well, I think they wanted us to like feel like we were in like a known environment so that we would feel like the stark difference of being in like a new galaxy like they've been
yeah.
like thrown into. Eric says Jod is setting this all up. He placed himself in the cell. He could have escaped a long time ago. Hmm.
Interesting. Or at least he allowed himself to be there, right? Like, because I mean, if he could have got the key,
Yeah, that is interesting. Why didn't he just grab the keys sooner?
he's just waiting for the right crew to get thrown into detention, right? Or into the
Right.
brig.
Yeah, maybe he's realizing that these kids have a ship and he's like, "Oh, this is my way
Oh
out."
yeah,
Yeah.
just opportunist.
Yes, cuz he probably could have escaped before, but where would he go? On
Yep.
a starport where he's like imprisoned. Joshua says, "My guess is this planet was better connected to other planets, comms and shipping during the Old Republic, but purposely faded into obscurity to avoid the rising tensions." Hmm. I just I don't know. I think it's
They
too
for
soon to
sure
tell.
wanted to fly under the radar, right? Like they didn't want the Empire getting their resources because that's what the Empire did, right? They just go to a planet, take all of
Mhm.
its resources, use it for their own good, trash it, move along. So clearly they survived that because they look like they're doing pretty good within a decade after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, I don't think anyone on at Aden ever actually leaves cuz unlike planets like Coruscant, where you see all of like the high flying
Yeah.
starships. You don't see that at all, and they have like those speeder bikes, and they have like floating buses and stuff,
Yep.
but or hover buses, I guess. But I don't think anyone actually leaves. I think maybe the barrier is meant to like obscure
Yeah.
communications. Like, what do you call that when it's like that data safety stuff
Yeah.
that like decrypts your data?
Oh, it's like a VPN type thing.
I guess, yeah. Like yeah, maybe their signals are being decrypted so that
So
they
like an
can't actually
EMP,
be
like in the
detected.
like in the military, right? Electromagnetic pulse. So no comms are getting in there.
Yes,
It's just them.
exactly. I think they're trying to isolate themselves for sure. Like Atlantis, like you said.
Yeah,
But
it's
that's really
hidden.
cool. It's cool that their planet has like faded into obscurity. Like people don't even think it's real. It's neat.
Yep.
The credits were from the Old Republic and they were mint. The money wins.
Yep.
Money. Oh, Whim's father gave him. Yeah, for
They
sure.
were shiny.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. He's the helmeted pirate.
Yep. We
I guess
agree,
that
or
was
I
obvious
agree.
to everybody. I guess everyone was supposed to come to that conclusion. The droids have the planet on lockdown. Oh, so it's the droids doing it.
I'll be interested to see who's running the planet. You know, like who's keeping all this under wraps and keeping it under
Yeah.
wraps for like decades.
Yeah. Did you at any point wonder why this planet was so diverse? Like they have so many different species.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind. I think it's gonna go back all the way to the old Republic. Like, I think even in the Galactic Republic, they don't know of this planet, right? Like, kind of myth, because
Yeah.
grand scheme of storytelling, that's not a very long period of time, 30-ish years. You know, from Revenge of the Sith, 40
Mm-hmm.
maybe. So yeah, I mean, I think they're like well hidden. So maybe it's this place was like a big hub hundreds or thousands or whatever years ago, and that's just kind of how it is. It's pretty
Yeah.
interesting.
Not even the Night Sisters could detect this planet.
They have no clue, and like, are all the people kidnapped? Like, are they just stuck there? Like, no one can come in, but also no one can leave.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they didn't even know what hyperspace looked like. They're like, whoa, is
Yep.
this hyperspace? Let me skip around to this is
Yeah,
all
when
about
they
the
make that jump.
hatch. Yep, hyperspace jump. Yeah, super interesting. I'll be excited to watch episode 3. How many episodes are there altogether?
8.
It seems like the go-to now, 8 episodes.
Yeah, Kenobi was 6. Andor was 12. Everything else is 8.
Ahsoka was 8
Yep.
and Acolyte was 8.
Yep.
I wonder
Book of
what
Boba Fett might have been 6. I don't remember.
does anybody
I
does
try to
anybody remember?
forget that show as much as I can.
I'm sure Eric remembers. Eric being the number one Boba Fett
He's the big
fan
Boba Fett
in the
fan.
galaxy. Yeah. Eric, we have another comment. Speaking of Eric, they look surprised to see other aliens, which seemed weird. You'd think they'd be used to aliens. Yeah, I said the same thing at the starport. They're like, aliens, which is funny because that means they don't consider Neil an alien.
They're used to their aliens.
Right. These are different aliens. These are alien aliens
Yeah,
for sure.
I think so. Now,
Um,
I got to ask you overall, before we end up gone, because I don't want to miss this. Grade the episodes. This is what me and Kevin always do on the podcast. You gotta give it a grade, and then it's gonna be your baseline going forward.
ooh, okay. Wait, letter grade or 1 through 10?
1 through 10, and you can use halves. We'll go 7, 5, 8, 5 on things.
Okay, let's see. Episode 1, I think did a good job setting up, but I don't know. I think I just wasn't a fan of the premise. It felt more dystopian sci-fi to me than it did Star Wars. So I would probably give the first one a 7.5.
Okay,
How about
I'm
you?
going. I'm going 8 on the first one.
8. Yeah, I
8
was
on the
between
first one.
7.5, 8. I was like, 7.5 seems more fair. And then episode 2, I think because it ended with a Force user, and the pirates. I actually like the pirate stuff. I think the pirate stuff is cool. I would probably give the second episode and I love Shmi. They just always do such a good job with droids, and Shmi was so
Mhm.
funny. I'd probably give episode 2 either an 8 or an 8.5. Let's say 8.25.
Eight
Happy
and oh,
medium.
1.25s. Okay.
Yes.
I'm a 7.75 on episode 2.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
kind of flipped from what you said.
Exactly. Yeah, but that's good. It's good. Like people, different things appeal to people. Some people enjoyed like the middle school stuff. I was like, this is boring. This feels like I'm
Yeah.
reading like a YA novel about some science fiction town.
Yeah.
Eric says, Book of Boba Fett, 7 episodes, I believe.
Take your word for it.
Yep. I believe you. Well, one of them, I don't think we can count. One of them was more of like
Mando
Mandalorian.
2.5.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I don't think there's much more else to say.
No, that's. I think it was fun though. I mean, no negativity here from me. That's the one thing is I think everything is smooth sailing so far through 2 episodes.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not as confused as I was after Acolyte episode 1 and 2. Because I just, after those first 2 episodes, all I felt was confusion. And now all I feel is like, oh, that was fun. It's a good show around this time of year, like very Christmassy, like very light, very adventure. It kind of
Yeah,
reminds
yeah.
me of the year that the Hawkeye show premiered, where it was
That's a
like,
good show.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But it was like adventure but also
Hmm.
like, I don't know, it was nice. It had
Not
like
too
a,
serious, right? Yeah.
exactly, exactly, not too heavy.
I'll tell you, I watched the first 2 episodes of The Acolyte in like the hospital on the
Oh,
dad
right.
couch.
Yeah.
So I was like in
That's
delirium
right.
watching that. So I don't really remember a lot about the first 2 episodes
That's fair.
about my first watch, other than I enjoyed it. But that's about all I remember about that.
That's fair. But even if you weren't in delirium, it was just a
Yeah,
confusing like setup to the show.
yeah,
But no, it was fun. I'm glad I went into this show kind of dark. I did watch the first teaser trailer. I didn't watch the second one. I didn't want to be overexposed to the show. I didn't
right.
look on Wikipedia about anything. So I was pleasantly surprised. So let's see. Between my two scores, I gave it a 7.5 and more of like an 8.5. So
8.25 to be exact.
yes. So what does that make? Like
7.5.
7.75. Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. And your median score would have been, let's see, what was your first one?
I went 8 on the first one
And
and
then
seven
seven and
and
a
a
half.
half.
So we
So
netted out around
same
the same.
average.
Yeah, I guess we'll see how things go from here. I think it'll
Yep,
get even better because usually shows start out kind of slow.
I agree.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for jumping into the live chat. I know this was a late one. The plan is to do these a bit earlier, probably Tuesdays.
Yep,
And
that is the
hopefully
plan.
we can get an additional guest next week. Maybe Jedi Lex, who's in the chat, or Kevin.
I'll be bringing
Um,
Kevin. We'll make it happen.
yes, we'll bring some guy Kevin onto the stream.
We'll get some guy Kevin on here.
Yeah. Alrighty, guys. Have a great night, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys next time.
Bye.